10 days ago, this war was about missiles and nuclear sites. Today, it is about something far more dangerous, something that controls the price of everything you buy, every flight you take, every bill you pay. Oil. And overnight, the world just got a lot more expensive. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is day 10 of the U.S.-Israel military campaign against Iran, and the battlefield has just expanded to the one target the entire global economy was praying would stay untouched. Let's go back to early Monday morning. Energy traders sat down at their screens and watched something they had not seen in 3 years. Brent crude oil exploding past $100 per barrel, then $110, then briefly touching $120, levels the world has not seen since 2022. West Texas Intermediate followed within minutes, spiking toward $119 before slightly pulling back. By midday, Brent was swinging violently between $98 and $108. WTI was bouncing between $99 and $103. But here is the number that should genuinely terrify you. Before this war started, oil was sitting near $60 a barrel. It has nearly doubled in 10 days. And the reason why comes down to one waterway, a narrow strip of water you may have heard of but never imagined could affect your grocery bill, your mortgage rate, or your retirement savings. The Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the entire world's oil supply moves through it every single day. And right now, Iran has partially restricted traffic through that corridor. Tankers are rerouting thousands of miles out of their way. Insurance costs for any ship attempting passage have exploded. And energy traders are no longer asking if things get worse, they are asking how much worse. Because if Iran triggers a full blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, analysts are warning oil could surge past $150 per barrel. That is not just a number on a trader's screen. That is a global inflation shock. That is a recession. That is ordinary people in every country on Earth paying more for food, fuel, heating, and transportation simultaneously. Markets understood this immediately. Stock markets dropped across the board. Bond yields spiked. G7 nations are now quietly holding emergency discussions about releasing strategic oil reserves. The word quietly matters here, because when world powers go quiet, it usually means they are more alarmed than they are letting on. But here is the twist that sent this story from a regional conflict into a potential global economic catastrophe. Until this weekend, the coalition strikes had stayed disciplined. Nuclear sites, missile launch facilities, military command infrastructure. The strikes were surgical, targeted, and calculated to degrade Iran's warfighting capability without triggering a broader economic collapse. That changed Saturday night. For the first time in this entire campaign, Israeli forces, reportedly operating in direct coordination with the United States, struck Iran's oil infrastructure. Not military targets adjacent to oil sites, the oil infrastructure itself. Storage depots, fuel warehouses, refineries that supply domestic Iranian energy. Facilities across Tehran were hit. Massive fires erupted across the capital. Black smoke columns rose thousands of feet into the sky. Residents reported oily rainfall landing on their rooftops. Toxic fume alerts went out across multiple districts. Iran says at least 30 energy-related sites were damaged or destroyed. The images spreading online look like something out of an apocalypse film, and they are real. This is happening right now. The strikes killed at least 4 people, according to early reports. But the deeper damage may be what happens inside Iran in the coming days, because this country has already been suffering rolling blackouts since 2025. Its domestic energy grid was already under pressure. Now its refineries and storage facilities are on fire. The question is not whether this creates instability inside Iran. The question is what form that instability takes. Tehran answered that question quickly.
Iran launched new waves of missiles and drones overnight, some aimed at Israel, but others, and this is the part the world needs to pay attention to, others were aimed at energy infrastructure across Gulf states, desalination plants, power installations, strategic facilities belonging to neighboring countries that have nothing formally to do with this war. The message from Tehran was unmistakable: if our energy burns, yours burns with it. This conflict has stopped being a military exchange between two sides. It is now an energy war, and energy wars have no clean front lines. President Donald Trump addressed the oil surge on Monday, dismissing it as temporary, calling it a very small price to pay for dismantling Iran's military threat. But behind closed doors, reports are emerging of serious friction between Washington and Tel Aviv over how aggressively energy infrastructure should continue to be targeted, because every refinery that burns sends oil another $5 higher, and every $5 higher brings the global economy closer to a breaking point that hurts American consumers just as badly as Iranian ones. The human cost is also impossible to ignore. Iran now reports between 940 and over 1,200 deaths from coalition strikes over 10 days. Israel has lost 11 to 13 civilians from incoming missile attacks. The United States has confirmed 7 fallen service members since the campaign began. And in the middle of all of this, Iran made a political move that could define the next decade of Middle Eastern history. Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the slain supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been reportedly named as Iran's new supreme leader. Analysts are calling this a consolidation of hardliner power at the worst possible moment, a wartime regime cementing itself around the belief that resistance, not negotiation, is the only path forward. Which means this war is not ending soon. So here is where the world stands right now. 2 nuclear-armed Western allies are fighting a nation that just lost its supreme leader, just had its oil infrastructure bombed for the first time, and just launched retaliatory strikes on neighboring energy facilities. Oil has nearly doubled in price in 10 days, the Strait of Hormuz is partially closed, and the world's largest economies are having quiet emergency conversations about what happens next. Day 10. The missiles are still flying, the fires are still burning, and the economic aftershocks from this week alone may not be fully felt for months. If you are not watching this closely, you need to start. Because what happens in that narrow strip of water between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula does not stay there. It reaches your fuel pump, your heating bill, your supermarket receipt, your savings account. The world changed this weekend. The question now is how much further it has left to fall.